I'm Trish.
I'm Rebecca.
And I'm Carrie.
And this is the Kickbutt Talent Series.
Brought to you by the Sioux Film Festival.
Hello. On this episode of the Kickbutt Talent Series, Christian Potenza delivers a seminar on voice acting. Enjoy.
What's going on, Sault Ste. Marie? That's what's up. Hi, I'm Christian Potenza, and I'm from the Sioux. I'm from there. Yes, and in fact, the reason I'm talking to you today is because the thing I know how to do well and that I'm known for, that I'm going to share with you, all started in Sault Ste. Marie. Yeah. You can take the boy out of the Sioux, but you can't take out the Sioux out of the boy. And that's what's up. Yeah, I moved there when I was in grade 6. And I went to Sister Mary Clare. And across the park was Grandview High School. And a lot of people that I've met in the industry also went to school at Grandview. It's weird how we all interact. And as time went on, after I left the Sioux, I was there from grade 6 to 11. I did it in school years, or by songs, but we'll talk about that later. But the thing is, everybody from the Sioux has shown up in my life in the industry. And all the things that we did in the Sioux now are paying off. And now I'm going to be showing you how to get into voice acting from the Sioux, being attached to my studio in Hamilton, which is attached to Toronto, which is attached to international studios and voice work. So where do we begin? Where do we begin? I've only got an hour. And I wish I could be there in person, but this is not the case this year because of COVID and because of working and because of a lot of things. But the beauty of the technology and the things I'm going to show you is that you can now voice act from home. Okay? You can now, instead of going to a place where you made money to pay for your home, you can actually work from home and bring income in. That's what voice acting is, because it's based in isolation. So it's perfect for modern day. You see, I predicted this years ago, because I actually took time away from voice acting. I actually said, I'm not going to do it anymore because I had become a parody of myself. Because back then, when we were voice acting, we didn't have voice acting lessons. There was no industry. It was like a John Hughes film. You were here, there, or everywhere, and you were put in your category. And those who did microphone stuff, well, they didn't do camera stuff. But I was a camera guy, and I got put in microphones because of a simple thing. This laugh that I did for a bunch of commercials that then translated into a cartoon character. And I based a whole industry around a laugh. Only to find out later that when you're developing a character for voice, you base it around the laugh. Because that's the human sound. But let me backtrack. My name is Christian Potenza. I'm an actor, a writer, producer, a father, a friend, an amateur Renaissance man. I do a lot of things, and I'm known as a lot of things to a lot of people. But I'm most known for sounding like this guy. And I'm most known for sounding, technology. I'm most known for sounding like that guy. But what people don't understand is because they're just meeting me or they're meeting these people. And they say things like, wow, do you ever sound like this guy and that guy? And I was like, funny, these guys sound like this guy. I got a train coming by here, guys. Yeah, I'm in Hamilton. So we're going to keep it real. We're going to keep it going. But the thing is, I hit the low glass ceiling after a while because I became a parody of myself. Because I thought that this guy and this guy were my voice. I was wrong. I was wrong because I couldn't get arrested in voice world. I couldn't get arrested. I tried when I first went out there. 5 years, I couldn't get a job or a gig or anything because I didn't know what I was doing. I was trying to do a telemark landing on a moving target from a wobbly platform. And I thought that that's what voice acting was, when in fact, wasn't even close. Because it came down to a few key elements that I didn't realize. I didn't understand the world. I understood cameras, I understood stage, I understood auditioning. I didn't understand the theater of the mind. I didn't understand that they were animating around me. I didn't understand that there's a difference between dubbing and voice acting and the ocean of life that is voice acting. I didn't know where I fit in. So, I tried, and I tried, and I tried, and I tried. And then one time, something happened. It clicked. I booked. And I didn't know why I booked right off the top. But then after the first record, I understood. Because you see, I had moved to Los Angeles, LA, for a couple of years, and I was hanging out in Southern California where I lived, in Dana Point, Laguna Beach. I had moved from Santa Monica because, I was in my 20s and I shouldn't have been there. It was a little too much. So I moved to Southern California where my friends were. More of a suburban livelihood. And when I was there, I took up skimboarding and surfing. And the house that I was renting, I moved in with these guys that talk like this. Bro, we'll teach you how to surf. And then after, we go down to San Onofre, Omans, then we're going to go to Wahoo Taco. And I was like, just keep talking. I love your accent. And so I was down there for a bit, and then I came home, and my sound had changed, especially if I had a few pops, then the sound would come out of me, and everyone would go, you sound like a dick. Why you sound like that? And I was like, whatever, dude, right? And my sound changed. But then I got my first audition. It was for Trevor Troublemeyer, for a show called Sidekick, for a pilot on YTV. And they said he's a precocious, obnoxious 12-year-old. So I talk like this. Because I remember my friends going, you sound like a dick. So I talk like that. I booked it. Then 3 months after that, with the same people, I auditioned for this cartoon called 16. And there's a character named Jude. And he's a chilled out skater dude. And I was like, okay. But he's not a dick. So I talk like this. I just softened it up. Booked it. Boom. And then 3 years later, with the same friggin' people, I auditioned for a show called Total Drama. And I failed miserably because at this point, I'm like top of my game. I'm like doing all sorts of stuff in voice and TV and film. And yet, I wasn't booking, but I was working steadily. And I was kind of like a celebrity in the voice world, a new voice. But then I auditioned for a show called Total Drama. And I auditioned for all these other characters. And on my way out, because I failed miserably, Tom McGillis, the creator of 16 and Total Drama, along with Jennifer Perch, well, he said, hold on a sec, I want you to read this. And he hands me a breakdown. I see one little loose picture of a guy. Looks like this, but it didn't look like this at that time. And he goes, okay, so it's kind of like he's Jeff Probst meets Ashton Kutcher, because the show Punk'd at that time was very popular. And I was like, okay. So I talk like this. Right? I did my instructions. I said what to do, but I had a little bit of thing on it. I booked the part. Now, because of Chris McLean and the fever that is Total Drama around the world, I was now that guy. And I thought that that was my voice. Everybody likes Jude. Everybody likes Chris. And I made a lot of money. But that wasn't what my voice was. So then, with the birth of social media, 2007, and YouTube, well, now all these people had access to us doing their shows. They're like, hey, are you Christian Potenza? I was like, yeah. Why? Are you the voice of Dead? I was like, yeah. Because at this point, I'm just some guy in a room making voices, I don't think anybody watches. Just kids watch cartoons. And they're like, because of you, I am now inspired to do this. Because of you speaking up about having a learning disability, I do also want to be a voice actor. Because of you, And I was like, what? And they all said the same things. You're part of my childhood. You're part of my memories. And I was like, what? And I was involved with Make-A-Wish Foundation 3 times. 2 of those kids had passed away. And when you're sick, and when you're dying, you watch cartoons. And I had no idea this was going on. This is why I don't charge for my autograph anymore. Right? I go to these conventions and I realize they're telling me, you're part of my childhood, you're part of my memories. Because of you, I want to be a voice actor too. I didn't know I wanted to be a voice actor. I didn't know I'd be this person. And I say to them, you know what? Listen, I didn't say give me $50, $75, $80, or $100 for my autograph. The owners did. So I you know what? I would rather you go and buy a microphone and then give me $100 and I'll show you how to use that microphone. And that's what I started doing. Because guys, they're always looking for new faces and new voices. It doesn't matter when you show up. But if you come correct and you know the format and you represent yourself as your true authentic self with your voice, world's your oyster. There is an ocean of life of what you can do with your voice. And it's even more accessible now than it ever was because of the pandemic. So what I'm going to do in this is what I wanted to do with you in person was like have a workshop. So for the next hour, I'm just going to show you some basic stuff to get you going, to get you excited about your own voice. Let's go back to the place where you stop sounding like yourself, come to present, and I give you a little bit of tidbit of information that will inspire you. And if you are interested in voice acting, well, guess what? My buddy Dustin Jones has a studio in Sault Ste. Marie, and you can make a demo and you can be attached to the awesomeness. Because here's the thing. If you're interested in voice acting, well, one thing you have to remember is you're joining a community, a well-established community with its own rules, regulations, pay schedule, and hierarchy, and all the stuff. Where do you fit in? Doesn't matter. If you're concerned about that, it doesn't matter. I'm going to give you some hacks and stuff like that. I mean, Tesla was right. He was like, there's free energy. If you can harness it, you can live for free. You know, and that's what I want to show you. The people of Sault Ste. Marie, where I came from, what I did, and what you can do too. Okay? Because a lot of eyes from the south are looking north. And you guys are an untapped resource. So let's talk about voice acting. Back in the day, we would show up and we would show off. That's how I learned how to voice act. That's how I learned how to create. Showing up and showing off. There was no, this is my brand. We were put in our categories. Because when you're a voice actor or when you're an actor, your job is to audition. That's it. Your job is to audition. And if you're good at your job, you get this much of an opportunity to showcase this much of your talent on a huge tapestry. The better you get at your job, you get even more of an opportunity to showcase more of your talent on a smaller tapestry. Because now you're in a category that you belong to or one that you've created yourself. And he, she, or they that have the technology and understand the basic fundamentals of how to use that technology, and then are able to run a format through the technology for a self-tape, for a project, for content generation, for artistry, whatever, and then are able to skin that technology and format with their talent, will get the job every time. So, let's pull back the curtain. Everyone thinks voice acting is about making a voice, right? No, it's not. It's not about that. The voice is not even part of it. If you have the character, the voice just comes. That voice may ask for an accessory to be lent to it, which is accents, dialects, speech impediments, throaty qualities, nasally qualities, and the like. It goes on, but those are accessories, and everyone thinks that's the voice. It's not. If you have the character, the voice just comes. You don't have to do anything. It may ask for some accessories to be lent to it, but you're smart enough to know that you can grab it from your library. Yeah, a library of characters, voices, sounds that you can access, like the Matrix. Let's shoot, right? You have to have access to all of these things because you are on demand. And your job is to audition. We already went through that. But I'm going to show you a few things. First, I'm going to show you what happened to me. To explain the unlocking process. To go back. To be brave enough to go back to the place where you stop sounding like yourself. That's right. The place where you stop sounding like yourself. We all have it. I'm approaching 50. This December, I'm turning 49. December 23rd, 49. I am a well-adjusted 23-year-old at this point in my life. I wear trucks on my shirts. I have a crippling Peter Pan complex, but I get paid for it. It's not been the easiest thing. Discovering that you have ADHD at almost 50. Didn't even know that was a thing, but that's a superpower. Because you see, those things that we don't like about ourselves, our voice, our psyche, those things are superpowers and strengths. And we always play to our superpowers and strengths in this game. And I didn't realize that. Because I thought that I was this guy's. I thought I was these guys. And I wasn't. But I was so used to doing shout outs. I was so used to like just lifting it from the page without even looking at the page and riffing. Everyone's like, you're so good. And I'm like, yeah. Voice acting is puppetry. And it's all based on some fundamentals that we're going to get to. And I'm going to show you how you can do it at home. But let me share my little story so then it'll make sense. Because I'm like the little scientist that made the potions, drank the potions, did the field notes, and also, screwed around with the time machine just to see if I could. And I did. So I took some time off because the phone wasn't ringing anymore. And people were getting a little... They were done with this thing that I kept putting out. And it was just coming out. You know, it was like... I became a parody of myself because I wasn't even voice acting this time. At this point in my life, I was at conventions signing autographs, promoting that I'm awesome. I became so good at promoting that I wasn't even voice acting anymore, which made me a kind of like a little pariah. You know, it's just like somebody called me the Gene Simmons of cartoons, and I was like, oh, that's accurate. Okay, I hate you, but that's accurate. So I took the note. And then some things happened in my life where it just got real quiet. They weren't asking for me anymore, and I also didn't want to do it because I became a parody of myself. I hated the sound of my own voice like we all do. And I was like, I'm done. So I took 3 years off, and I decided to just do something, cleanse, bumper crop my soul. And then, because of who I am and what I do, I had the wonderful opportunity to call up any agency and go like, hey, I'm looking for representation. So I called up the characters, and I called up my friend Ryan Goldhar, who now represents me and has for the last couple of years. And I said, hey man, I need some representation. I think I'm getting back in the game. And he was like, oh, did you leave? And I was like, you didn't know? I thought everyone knew. No, he didn't know. It was all in my head. And he said, that's fine, but you got to meet with Donna Trimble, who is the head of voice. Because that's how we do it here. So I meet with Donna Trimble, who is the #1 voice agent in the goddamn country. And Donna Trimble's this tall. And when she came into the room and she lowered her glasses and looked at me, which was looking up, it seemed like she was looking down, and I don't know how it was possible, but she did. And she goes, Christian, we love that you are here at the characters. You are a nice, bright, shining jewel on this crown. But the dude is dead. And I was like, what? What? No. I don't think you understand, DT. I am the dude. I own that. She's like, no. And then she whaps down a stack of papers. Breakdowns for auditions, for voice. This is the head of the best voice agent that you can have. She whaps down a bunch over 3 years and goes, so I start flipping through, and I'm like, and it says, looking for a Christian Potenza type. And I'm all like, what? I'm a type? Of course I'm a type. What do you mean? But, whoa, it hit me. I'm a type. And it said things like, think Christian Potenza, I love Christian Potenza. It had links to my Facebook page and my YouTube channel. And I had no idea because I took myself out of the game. I'm like, oh, of course. And I said, how did this happen? I know there had been a few that I'd gone out before and it'd be like, thinking Christian Potenza. And I've auditioned. In the breakdown, they said, looking for a Christian Potenza type because I'm in the same category as Jack Black, Seth Rogen, Paul Rudd, all these casual man-childs. Man-children? You can't really pluralize childs, but I just did. Recognize. And I'm looking at these things and going, oh my God, I had no idea that I was a type. And then she simply explains, since you've been gone for 3 years, there was a sound that was 24 hours always on. It was part of the tapestry. But when it's gone, they have to replace it. So, what? They put out a breakdown. And this is the part that made me realize that I was getting older and that I wasn't what I thought. Because underneath that it says male. Like, think Christian Potenza, looking for a Christian Potenza type, blah, 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 male. 18 to 25. And I am just in my mid-40s at this point, and I was all like, that's where it hurt me. And that's when Donna says to me, listen, things have changed. You have to go home and get a get a microphone and start rehearsing at home and self-taping from home. There's no more going to places because in the last 3 years that you've been gone, we don't do that anymore. You self-tape from home. People are doing it on their phones. I'm like, what? On their phones? What? And then she's like, yeah. And I felt that right away because I was shooting a Disney film up in Winnipeg. But at the same time, I'm the voice of Coco the Fido dog, and I'm in there once a week or every 2 weeks, and I've got to lay down something for television, internet, and radio, which is a sweet gig. But the thing is, I'm up there, and usually if you're in a town, I can go to any CBC radio station or even my hotel room if I have the equipment. But I was way far away, and they said, just use your phone, and this is what you're going to use. So they made me a sound booth in the back of a U-Haul in northern Winnipeg, and I did it. And 3 days later, it's on the radio, and I was just like, whoa. So I started thinking. I was like, okay, right, because I can do that. So I went and got a microphone, a USB microphone that just plugs into my phone or plugs into my computer or a laptop, which I didn't have at the time. I just had an iPhone and an iPad. So I started screwing around with these apps. And I was doing some self-taping, but it wasn't good because it wasn't my studio. And so my agent goes, okay, listen, I can't use any of your stuff before because this is crap because it sounds like the dude. And I was like, I know, but I have work done. And it was like, yeah, but I can't use it. You can't go out for stuff because you need a demo now. You need a demo. You can't go on reputation. You need a demo. A demo is a demonstration of your abilities. And there's different categories to what you're doing. So, you know, we got to get you a tight demo. I need a commercial and narration demo. So you need that demo because that demo will either get you a direct booking or a self-tape. That self-tape will get you a direct booking or an in-person or virtual callback. And I was like, okay. So I went and got some equipment, and I was just like, yeah. I got my equipment, and she's like, great. Here's some scripts. Work on them. I'll see you next week. I kept pushing it because I didn't do anything. I got some equipment, but I didn't know how to use it because I was like, I'm Christian Potenza. I like to show up, and I like to show off because I got that style. And guess what? That's not how it worked anymore. And my agent goes, hey, bro. She didn't say bro, but that's the way it came across in my head. Hey, bro, if you don't get me these self-tapes, or sorry, the like to see where you're at, I'm going to take you off the roster. I can't work with you because I can't sell you. Okay? And I was like, I didn't know that's how it worked. So I said, okay. Promise this week. And this was on a Monday when I was supposed to get it like 3 or 4 or 5, 6 weeks ago. I didn't. And she's like, yeah, this is a Monday. And I was like, okay, cool. I'll have it for you on Wednesday. Okay? Because I know I got to be in on Friday to record. So I'll get it to you Wednesday so you can hear my progress. So, Wednesday comes around. And I'm like, hey, sorry, I couldn't get you those because of lying. I was lying because I was too chicken. I don't know. I didn't know what she wanted. I tried it a few times, but I was like, this doesn't feel weird. Like, it doesn't, I was spoiled. I was taken care of every time I did it. So now, it's Wednesday, and she goes, seriously? If I don't get something today, like, I got to hear something before you step in the booth. I got an audio engineer. I got some stuff. I was like, okay. And she picked my scripts. I said, definitely. This was in the morning. Definitely. End of day. So I start recording, and they're different scripts than what I would have picked and stuff. And I'm working on it, and I'm like, okay. And they were all sort of the same, but I traded it up. You know, I kind of changed my voice a little bit, what I thought. But I'll never forget, there was this one ad for FedEx. And it went like this. Well, it's not late, but the boss still wants to see you, is the first line, right? Well, it's not late, but the boss still wants to see you, and then it went on. So here I am standing in front of my equipment going, okay, shit, today I'll do it. But hey, I work better under pressure. You know me, I never did schoolwork. I was learning disabled. I know how to do this. I will fake it. I will wipe the floor with anything put in front of me and polish it up, and pow. So I start. And I'm killing it. I'm actually killing it until I hit the FedEx one. And I'm like, well, it's not late, but the boss still Nope. She said no. And she even gave me some notes on how to deliver this one because she had a plan. And then I'm like, well, it's no, slow it down. Well, it's not late, but the boss. And I'm like, why do I sound like a stoner? No, this doesn't sound like a business guy. So I clip it up. Well, it's not late, but nope, that's not it. I'm like, oh, give him the laugh. Well, it's not late, but the nope. So this time, I'm starting to freak out. My heart is pumping, my palms are sweating, and I'm starting to see little amoebas in my freaking vision because, like, I've got to turn this in, and it's not going well. So then I'm like, well, it's not late, but the boss still... well, it's not late. Well, it's not... I get a big lump in my throat, and I stop. Because I'm freaking out. Because I can't do it. And I remember just blanking. And going, this sucks. If I'm not buying it, they're not buying it. I'm done. I'm not what I thought I was. And in that rhetoric, and then I started to walk away, and I was like, oh, I forgot to turn off my iPhone or unplug it. But then I'm looking at my iPhone, it's still running, and I was like, so I press stop, and I unplug it. I hook it up to the Bluetooth speakers, which is already hooked up, but I unplug it, and I press play. And I hear the other ones, and they're going good. I'm like this, I'm like that. Hey, better than that. And then I hear, well, it's not late, but the boss... Well, it's not late, but the... well, it's not late. And I'm hearing the panic, and then I started freaking out again, and then I heard it. This sucks. If I'm not buying it, they're not buying it. And I heard it. And then it was like a shockwave. It just went. And everything went as quiet as a carpet store. And I was expecting a wave back, and it never came back. And that's when things got really weird. Because I was listening to what it really sounded like. Lying. I was lying. This wasn't me. But I heard myself when I wasn't thinking about it or trying to steer water. Because you can't steer water. And I heard myself. This sucks. If I'm not buying it, they're not buying it. And I heard something that I never heard before. And all of a sudden, I drift back into my early 20s where shit got really weird. And then into my teens. And then all the times I misrepresented myself using a voice that wasn't mine. Thinking it was mine. And then I saw my daughter's face. She was young at this time. Right? She's still young. And I just see her eyes looking up at me, her hero, and I'm lying to her. And I just start spinning and I fall to the ground. And I'm gagging. I'm gagging with disgust. I see what other people were seeing. And I open my eyes. And I was just like, I was crying. I was convulsing. I had snot running. And I was just like, And I got up and I was just like, I went and made some licorice tea. And I was like, what the fuck was that? And I'll never forget it. I had this mug with this sail ship on it. Like it looked like a Blue Nose. Big thing. And just is what I used to drink my licorice tea into the studio. And it was so hot. I was like, and I come back to the microphone and I just like, I put it down. And I'm like, okay, let's just see what happens. I'm not even going to think about it, not going to do it. But like something happened to me. I'm changed. I'm different. Things just got weird on the floor. Everything's different. It's like there was an audible click in the air. And I was like, well, everything looks the same, but it's different. I don't know. It's like a Mandela effect. And I said, let's just try this. And I hit record. And I did this. Well, it's not late, but the boss still wants to see you. Whoa! And it just flew off. And I was like, whoa. I just flew into my own sun. I just cracked the code. I just unlocked myself. It was painful and it was weird, but I did it. And then I was like, boom, boom, boom. I went back and did those other ones. I sent them to my agent and she was like, these are great. See you on Friday. And I was like, yeah. Sorry about that. I had to figure out some technical things. She knows this story because I told her later. And she goes, oh, I know. You're not that special, son. There's a lot of actors ahead of you that have done the exact same thing. I was like, okay. But what I did was I unlocked myself. I went from this guy. So I got tickets to the game. I'm going to bring my buddy Greg because at Budweiser, it's all about your butt. To this guy. Well, I got tickets to the game, but I promised my wife I'd finish the deck. So I gave my tickets to my buddy Greg. Greg's my friend, but I've got friends at Rona. He grew up, and I allowed myself to not be constricted to what I thought. Because there's three things happening, guys, every time you step up to, in front of, or behind a microphone. There is three things happening, and it depends how you look at it. But the first thing is what you think you sound like to yourself, which is a masturbatory dance of pageantry fueled by ego. Then there's what you think you sound like to others, which is all of the things I just mentioned, plus manipulation and performance for a desired outcome fueled by fears and insecurities. And then there's the truth. Nobody likes the truth. Except for me. And people like me that work in casting, that do voice directing, that teach. Because we're here to tell you those things that you don't like about yourself, well, hey, those are superpowers. Those are strengths, and we always play to our strengths. There's only one you, and they're always looking for new faces and new voices. But it doesn't matter when you show up. But if you come correct, knowing the technology and know how to run a format and are able to skin that technology and format with your talent, you will work. And welcome to your new hobby. Because that's what you should always regard it as, is a hobby. Because a hobby is something that you always get better at because you like doing it. You think Bob Azumi set out to become a world-renowned sponsored fisherman? No, he just liked fishing, and he just is like, people are like, hey, you should I don't know, I've got this thing, and you should do this, and we'll give you that. And he's like, all right. Right? And that's what voice acting is. Hey, I heard your thing. Could you do that, but use our words? Or can you put some input into this? Right? Because now, ladies and gentlemen, and boys and girls, especially the boys and girls, with your voices that sound like toys already, welcome to the industry of getting paid for how you look, how you sound, and how you think. I am going to mention this again. I, for the last 25 years, have been paid and acknowledged and even rewarded for how I look, how I sound, and how I think. Sometimes it's one of them, sometimes it's two, sometimes it's all three. Oh yeah, and it takes a special kind of person to do it. Or does it? Because all I know is that my job is to audition. And if I'm good at it, I get more of an opportunity later if I book it to showcase some more of my talent. But none of that, and I mean none of that, would have been possible unless I figured out the character development and unlock. And that's what I want to share with you guys today, is how to get started. There's my story, but we all got one. Let me show you what you need to get started, and that even includes that microphone that I showed you. Okay, so guys, take out 5 pieces of paper. Okay. And I'm going to show you character develop. Do you remember how we used to develop pictures in the couple of baths, right? Photographs. And that was picture development. I've broken it down because of my learning disability and growing up in a system that is broken. I had to figure it out myself. It's so funny. As a guy who never finished high school, didn't finish theater school, I now teach at university and colleges, and every one of my high schools that I went to are like, he's a graduate. Even my theater school, he's a graduate. I never finished it, and yet I teach. So it doesn't matter. St. Mary's Knights! Go Knights! Didn't graduate. Anyways, you're going to take out a couple pieces of paper, and I'm going to show you how to do character development. The first symbol that I want you to draw is a plus sign. It's like a rose compass. I have tattooed all of my teaching materials on my arms. Oh, I can't figure out technology. So I can teach wherever I'm at. You know, I can point to it and make sense. So, rose compass, right? As above, so below. All the symbology. Symbology? Symbology. Benoit, is that a word? I don't think that's a word. Symbolism. Thank you, Benoit. Benoit, he's over there. Benoit works with us. He's smart. He's 18. You 18 or 19 now? 19. He knows everything. Symbolism. Because you see, voice acting and this whole thing, this whole holodeck that we're working on, and that's what it is. That's what voice acting is, guys. It's not a 5x7 room. It's not a closet. It's not a sound stage. It's not a recording studio. It's Narnia. It's a classroom. It's a bedroom. It's a war. It's wherever you got to be. And it all comes down to sacred geometry and sacred numerology. They're symbols, okay? But the rose compass, right? The cardinal directions, north, south, east, west. So I want you to draw a plus sign. Not a Jesus cross, but a plus sign. At the top, I want you to write hero. On the bottom, villain. And on the West Coast, I want you to write sidekick. And on the East Coast, I want you to write mentor. This is bad because I'm writing it on a tiny little stool and it's all wonk. All right. I thought I was going to be doing a Zoom with you guys and we could interact. It didn't work out, but we're doing this. So this is the hero's journey. So at the north part, I want you to write hero. On the bottom, I want you to write villain. On the West Coast, sidekick. And on the East Coast, mentor. Because this is the hero's journey. Okay? This is the hero's journey. And what is the hero's journey? We all have many definitions for it, but this one, as it pertains to us, goes like this. Because this is the 4 archetypes of humanity, of character, of how the world works. We are either all of these things to ourselves and others at different parts of the day, week, month, year, or a lifetime. And it's always going on. Just like a model will have 4 different looks for their comp card, we as actors have to understand that the way we think, look, and sound has to have these covered. Hero, villain, sidekick, mentor. Okay, so here's the deal. I'm going to do a lemonade recipe as a character for each one of these. The lines are, take 3 lemons, slice, and squeeze. The hero, take 3 lemons, slice, and squeeze. Ha ha ha! Villain, take 3 lemons, slice, and squeeze. Sidekick, well, take 3 lemons, slice them, and squeeze them. Mentor, if one has lemons, one must slice, then and only then may you squeeze. Now, those are exaggerated in characters, but what if I'm going to use my real voice? I'm just going to make the switch in my head. Because a hero isn't some caped crusader that throws buses and shoots lasers out of their eyes or can breathe underwater. No, they just want to save the day. Here, let me get that for you. Sure, yeah, I got $100. You can borrow that. That's a hero. They just save the day. A villain isn't a bad person. A villain isn't corrupt. They're not evil. They're a product of their environment. And they were there first. Until somebody, probably a hero, came by and said, hey, that's not right. And the villain's like, excuse me? Are you kidding me right now? Have you seen? Let me tell you something. And that's what makes you a villain. A villain just has something to prove. Sidekick isn't some lackey worker bee that's just going to do whatever you say. No. They just want to help. Sure, I can be there around 4. You can borrow my lawnmower, right? They just want to help. And a mentor is not some swami high on a mount, some highly educated professor, some life coach. No. They just want to teach. Excuse me, can you tell me how to get to blah, blah, blah? Where are you coming from? What you want to do is you head down here 4 blocks, look for the dented purple mailbox, don't ask. Walk about 100 yards, you'll see the maple tree that's split into 2, and it's right there. They just want to teach you something. So now watch, I'm going to use my real voice and just make the switches. Take 3 lemons, slice, and squeeze. Take 3 lemons, slice, and squeeze. Well, take 3 lemons, slice them, and I'll squeeze them. First you take your lemons, then you slice, then you squeeze. See? Into casting in commercial, that's going to make a huge difference. All right. So now, there's the hero's cross. Okay, that's what we call it. Called the character cross. That's called the character cross. And just a little side note, every hero has a mentor and a sidekick, and every villain always has a henchman or a sidekick and a mentor. Okay, take your second sheet of paper, and I want you to picture this cross, because a character cross is open. It's open-ended. You can always braid characters, and you're free. But for tone or industry sound, right? You need to understand that it has to be capsulated. So if I was to draw a line from here to here to here to here, it makes a diamond. So draw a diamond on your sheet of paper. Worst diamond ever, but hey, these PlayStation symbols are going to help you navigate. So you're not trying to do a telemark landing on a moving target from a wobbly platform, trying to, nail this voice or character. So now, you have a diamond. This is called the tone diamond. Tone diamond. Now, the thing with this is that you will see words and phrases in the breakdown, or a voice director will tell you. Can you brighten it up? Can you make it a little more friendly? Can you flatten it out? Make it a serious tone? Can you throw it away and give me something casual? Can you hit the button and make it formal, more of a broadcast feel? And you're like, what? But now you know what it looks like, because for your animation demo, you want to make sure that you have a bunch of hero sounds, a bunch of villain sounds, a bunch of sidekick and mentor sounds. And for your commercial and narration demo, well, you want to make sure that you have the diamond cover. So now, I'm going to give you 5 things on top of each one of these, 4 or 5 words, and you're going to put a star beside each one. So at the top of the diamond, I want you to write fast-paced, high energy, excited, and friendly. And put a star beside excited and friendly. Then the southern part of the diamond, I want you to write slow-paced, low energy, serious, and flat/monotone. You will never hear the term monotone from a voice director, although I have heard it a few times from some millennials that I work with. And they're like, Christian, we really like what you're doing. It's amazing. Oh my God, so grateful. But the thing is, can you just give us more of a monotone vibe? And I'm all like, oh, you're an idiot, because monotone is a technical term. Stereophonic monotone. It's a technical term. It's for the scientists. It's the other side of what we do. But every time somebody says monotone, for a performer, you think flat. Just take out all the oxygen. And I'm going to give some examples of that. Now, let's fly over to the West Coast, where everything is laid back, easygoing, relaxed, and casual. Oh, sorry. Let's go back to, because I'm not interacting with you guys, my mind is moving a mile a minute here trying to get you at all. But can you put a star beside serious and flat? Thank you. And then over here on the West Coast, can you put a star beside relaxed and casual? Because those terms you're going to hear in the booth from a voice director or in the breakdown that they give you. Because the director gives you directions. And now you'll know where to go and you can draw the compass. So let's fly over here to the east, back to Toronto, where everything is corporate. Format. Industrial. Broadcast. And announcer/host. And that is the tone diamond. Now I'm going to give you some examples, okay? Here we go. Top of it. Welcome to awesome.ca. 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 Casual. Hey, welcome to awesome.ca. Welcome to awesome.ca. Welcome to awesome.ca. Formal. Host. Welcome to awesome.ca. Welcome to awesome.ca. So you see, there's 4 different sounds. The more you go into the corners, the more condensed it is. Okay? The more hardcore it is. So that's what you want to have, is a representation of that, because if you're being directed or you're self-directing at home, then you can track your movements and know and have a visual representation. Because some of us that have learning disabilities, well, we need the visual pictures to make sense of it all. Okay, now, on your next piece of paper, I want you to write or draw a triangle. And on each point of the triangle, I want you to write www. This is the key to communication. Because every time you step up to, in front of, or behind a microphone, we as professional voice actors know one thing. It always comes down to 3 things. Who am I? Who am I talking to? And where am I? That's it. That is it. That's what we do. Who am I? Who am I talking to? And where am I? Even in the scripts, it says interior, exterior, gives the location. It says day or night. But you know who's in the scene. So you know who you are. And you know who you're talking to. And you know where you are. People fly into the Bermuda Triangle or sail into the Bermuda Triangle, and they're like, yeah, and then this green mist came by, and we're all like, what is going on? And their instruments get all screwed up, and then they get spit out, 200 miles off course, and 20 minutes or 2 days later, or 20 years later, or they just disappear, and we're all like, it's the Bermuda Triangle. And I'm like, are you serious? This shit is happening, and nobody's going to fly in to go see what happened. But yeah, this stuff happens. But whatever happens in the Bermuda Triangle stays in the Bermuda Triangle, and only those people know. Because that's what voice acting is. It's puppetry. It's a world within a world. Okay? So, who are you? Who are you talking to? And where are you? Ta-da! That's what it comes down to. It's either one is a key point and it's guided by and supported by one of the two. And once you figure that out, sometimes it has a lot to do with where you are, right? If you're being chased by dinosaurs and you're like, hey guys, have you seen my umbrella? And there's a meteor shower and it's kind of a funny line. And you're like, hey guys, have you seen my umbrella? When you're like, hey guys, have you seen my umbrella? We're going to talk about that in a second. Okay, who are you? Who are you talking to, and where are you? Now, the next thing I want you to write down is the 5 fingers of self-direction, which are, what did I notice about my past? What did I notice? It could be anything. Well, I like the way the phrasing was, and I noticed I had a rock in my shoe. It could be anything. What did I like about my past? Could be anything. What didn't I like about my past? Could be anything. What didn't I like about my past? Well, what did I notice about my past? What did I like about my past? What didn't I like about my past? That's it. What am I going to change the next time I do a pass, and how am I going to change that? Right? Those are the 5 fingers of self-direction. I do that at the speed of thought because I have to know that. Sometimes I'll use that to break down what I'm doing so I understand if I'm going up for a big campaign or a big role in a video game or a cartoon where I'm like, I want to know this because this is 6 figures and this could change my life. So I will put in the work. So sometimes I'll do a pass and I'll go, what did I notice about what I just did? Because you're not going to do it while you're working. The closed circuit TV cameras are not going to come out because then you're monitoring it and you're not doing it. So I will ask myself after I do it when I'm listening to it, or sometimes to think about it, I'm like, what did I notice? What did I like? What didn't I like? What am I going to change? And how am I going to change it? And then, now I can listen to the voice director who's going to give me a bunch of notes. But I can't listen to the voice director and know what they want me to do unless I know what I did first. So that's why, after doing the character development, I ask myself these 5 fingers of self-direction. Now, the last thing I want you to write down on another piece of paper is the totem pole of success, which is this. You guys know what a totem pole is, right? Okay. Well, our indigenous brothers and sisters and ancestors, well, they didn't write anything down. They did everything. They are the original voice actors of this land. And they know one thing. You are not a human having a spiritual experience. You are a spirit having a human experience. And they would tell stories through voice only. And they would create these totem poles that told a story, and they would gather around. They didn't write anything down, but they carved these poles. But unless you knew the oral tradition, you didn't know what was going on. You just think it's a cool tattoo at this point. But the thing is, they did know what was going on. And the tradition and the information was passed through voice, the human voice. So that's why I always have the totem pole of success. And I always give this out to people starting out. So the totem pole of success is this. Show up is your first animal. Say your words. Take direction. Don't be a dick and leave. And there's the wings and there's your head on top of it. If you can follow this, and that means even if you're going to record at home, which you're gonna, because that's where we're all doing it now, show up 10 minutes early. Make sure your mic's running. Make sure there's no technical glitches. Make sure that you're going to work. Say your words. Say your words, the ones they asked you to say. And if they asked you to make up words, say those ones, but do not rewrite stuff. Take direction. Well, there's some self-direction, and also there could be somebody working with you, or it's from the voice director. And that means paying attention and listening, not thinking about what you're going to do while they're telling you this. Don't be a dick. That doesn't mean you're hard to work with. It means that you're nervous and you're laughing, you're trying to joke, you're wasting time. You're telling another actor what they should do and how they should do it. You showed up late. You're on your phone, social media. It goes on and on. But really, being a dick is very varied. don't dwell too much on this. Just do your job and get out, and you won't be a dick. Okay? And then leave. There you go. Leave. Get out, because now the adults can get to work. Right? And cut together what you did. You organic sack of meat that runs off electricity and dreams that just makes sound. Okay? But now you understand there's a process. And now you understand, and it's very loose, but like, hey, it's what we got. If I was there, different story. But if you ever want to take like a recipe or an instruction manual and or a children's book, and what you're going to do is you're going to read it as your hero a couple of times, different variations. You're going to read it as your villain. You're going to read it as your sidekick and your mentor, and then maybe a wild card in the middle. And then you're going to pick your favorite one, and then you're going to come over to the tone diamond and you're going to read it. Fast-paced, high-energy, friendly, and excited, or slow-paced, low-energy, serious and flat and monotone, or relaxed, casual, easy-going, or announcer, broadcast host. Pick your favorite one, and then, so now you've got a villain who's casual, and then you bring it over to the to the key to communication, and you're like, well, who's my character? Well, it's either written for you, or you go, my villain is called Barnabas, and he's talking to, I'm going to use you, Benoit. He's talking to Benoit, and they're at a company picnic. And people would say, how can you have a casual villain? Like, how does that work? And I was like, are you freaking kidding me? Did you not see Heath Ledger's Joker? Why so serious? Right? Like, the guy was the casualist thing. He's just like trying to blow up a building. He finally blew up. He's like, I don't know, whatever. Like, casual villain. And they're like, oh, I didn't think about it that way. I go, exactly. But us actors have a format. So I just gave that to you. So what you do is you either pick your two favorites or the ones you think, or run the cross. Pick your favorite one when you listen to it later, not while you're doing it. Then come over to the diamond and say, yeah, check this out. I like these ones. And I noticed that when you do the 5 fingers of self-direction, you notice that your friendly sounded more casual and your formal sounded serious, but you can either keep it or change it, but at least you know what you're doing, not putting out something you didn't know. And then you take your character and the tone and you give that character a name, choose your tone, choose the person they're talking to and put them in the place, and then run it through a sim. And then after you do that a couple of takes, then you go to the 5 fingers of self-direction and go, well, what did I notice about what I just did or what I listened to? What did I like about it? What didn't I like? What am I going to change the next time I do it, and how am I going to change it? And then when you book the job, you show up and you use the totem pole of success. You show up, you say your words, you take direction, you're not going to be a dick, and you leave. And then they pay you 2 weeks later. And then they ask you to come back 2 weeks after that. Okay? There you go. So that's how you do it. And listen, guys, go and collect some recipes. Beginner, intermediate, and expert. Go and collect some instruction manuals. Just chunks of it. Things from your hobby. Beginner, intermediate, and difficult. And some hobbies that you have. And then children's books. And then run it through that sim. See what happens. Record it. Listen to it later. Not right after you do it. The week after or 2 days later. Okay? Now that's all fine and dandy. You can do that off your phone and that's how you prepare. But let's quickly talk about equipment. Because I got to go. I talked too much about myself at the beginning because I felt like I should, because I wanted to dispel some myths about voice acting, and show you really what the face and the person and the human that's behind these character cartoons, and how some of us bought into it and thought we were them. Because cartoon characters are magic. But no, we are flesh and blood. We are mortal. Okay, guys, I'm just going to leave you with this little tidbit here. And also, listen, you guys can contact me anytime you want. And my buddy Dustin Jones up there with his studio. We're going to be hooking some stuff up, and I'm going to be coming up, and we're going to be doing workshops and making demos and patching you guys right into Toronto. Okay, back in the day, you needed 3 microphones to be a voice actor. You needed a USB microphone that you could travel with anywhere, because we were never in one place. We were either on set or in rehearsals or traveling around or crashing on friends' couches or lost. Oh, the 90s. Oh my God, they were great. Anyways, you needed 3 microphones. You needed a USB microphone that you can take with you anywhere that plugs into your computer or your tablet or device. And a good one back in the day would run anywhere from $150 to $300. Then you needed an XLR mic. That's the one with the patch cords, right? With the 3 little prongs, or the female and male ends. So you got those, and those go into an interface, which then plugs into your computer, which then connects you to the studios and blah, 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 blah. And a good one of those ran anywhere, like a mediocre or mid workhorse, was anywhere from $500 to $800. Then you needed a singing mic for singing. So those are 3 mics. And a good one, or one that was quality, was, again, anywhere from $150 to $300. So already you're up to $1,500. But then now this pandemic happened, and everyone needed to get into telecommunications because everyone was Zooming. So these hybrids came out. And we have tried a bunch of them, but I'm going to tell you the best one to get. And this is the Samsung. That's it. It's not Samsung. Oh, what am I doing? What am I doing? There we go. Samsung Q9U. Can you make that up, Benoit, or is it fuzzy? Q9U. Samsung Q9U. This showed up to kill other microphones on the market. This is a hybrid. It is USB and USB-C and XLR, and it has some play on it where you can control your mid and treble. I don't even know. But this one here is the best one you need because you don't have a back end, and it's all 3 microphones in one. So this is voice acting position, where you've got a microphone coming down at you like this, like a shotgun mic, because your lines are here. So if the recording pattern is coming up here, 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 and here, and I'm looking at my sides, the recording's happening in the middle here, not through it like broadcast or singing, right? Because there's a lot of action. So there's that position. Singing position is dead on. And broadcast is down here. That's why I like this mic, because it's only $300 friggin' dollars, and it's sound, and this is heavy. And it plugs into my phone. I Zoom with it. I do professional recording with it. I take it on the road. But this is the one I want you guys to get, because I can show you how to make this sound like a $1,200 or $1,500 Neumann, which is what we work with. But now look into hybrids, because it's all 3 microphones. And pound for pound, the Samson is probably that one. Now that you have a microphone, and now that you know how to do some character development, well, now you can start to build your demos. I'm going to leave you with this. You need certain types of demos. Narration and commercial. Narration is long format your voice. Infotainment, edutainment, audiobooks, biographies, e-learning, mom industries. You can't even buy a pair of mittens for your kid right now without being directed to some Insta, Etsy, Facebook, Pinterest, or website where you are greeted by an Uber mom who congratulates you on your purchase of ethically fair traded alpaca wool, then talks to you for 10 minutes on how to use these mittens properly, because you probably just don't know. Anyways, that's long format, and that's a voice job, right? Everything needs explaining these days. Pharmaceutical companies can't advertise, but they have the budget of Game of Thrones for their little videos that they make for doctors and pharmacists and new patients in many languages. E-learning is a new thing. It's a $385 billion industry that started last summer that we're a part of because I've got a green screen and a microphone and I know how to do stuff. That's something you could be doing from home as well. But that is long format your voice. Commercial is short format your voice based on boom, 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 boom. The tone diamond. Make sure that you have this. You've got some friendlies, you got some serious, you got some casual, and you got some formal, right? Once you have your narration and commercial demos done, well, that goes to your agent. That's up on Voice Bank. And now you're going to start to get some invitations. And your sound is going to change based on what they heard from your demo, which is a demonstration of your abilities. And they're going to be like, what? You're going to be like, what? Why am I the voice of Tic Tacs right now? And I go, I don't know. But as a guy who's been a yellow toothbrush, a breakfast cereal bar, and a bunch of other things, let me tell you, let's look at this. Let's see what's working and reverse engineer so you understand. But you understand that when you book the job, they heard something off your demo. And you need that demo. That demo will get you a direct booking or a da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, right? But once you have that narration and commercial out, you're going to start working. And now your sound is going to change based on what they heard. And they want you to now sort of, this is what they think of you. And you're going to play into that. And that's going to change your sound. But really what's happened is now you've created a sense of style and a work ethic, because that's the most important thing. You're not working on voices. You're not working on building a studio. You got to work on having a sense of style and a work ethic that is of your own design, because now you've created some swagger and you got confidence. Now it's time to do animation. But here's the deal. People are like, I want to get an animation reel. I want to do cartoons. And I'm like, yeah, who friggin' does it? But as a guy who's been doing it for 25 years and you don't have any animation to back it up, well, it's just a character reel. And character is what they want for audiobooks, for video games, for apps, for animation, for early childhood education. And that's called character. And that's where the cross comes in. You got to make sure for your character animation, for your character reel, that you have a hero, villain, psychic mentor, and variations of with different library to it. There's a lot more to it, but this is stuff that you're going to discover. I'm just discovering it too because everything's changed. Now, you don't have to be a voice actor that has to fit into a mold. Back in the day, it's like if you were to be a voice actor, you have to do this, this, and this. That's not the way it is anymore, guys. It's not that way. You just need a microphone that plugs into your phone and get one of these bad boys, Samsung Q9U, and do some sound dampening. Not soundproofing, there's no such thing. And start by reading recipes, instruction manuals, and children's books, because that's the backbone and foundation. And if you are interested in creating a demo from your home or want to come see me here in Hamilton and get hooked up in Toronto with representation or your own jobs, you can do that too. There's freedom. There's absolute freedom. Because you are joining a well-established community with its own rules, regulations, glossary of terms, and the like. And there's room for everybody because there's only one you. And they're always looking for new faces and new voices. I'm going to be turning 50, but I'm known for playing teenagers. How many 50-year-olds do you know that sound like this? Mom, you're embarrassing me. All day. All day. Because with voice work, it doesn't matter your age, sex, religion, race, nothing. Because it's not this and this that makes the sound. It's everything. And welcome to the world of getting paid and acknowledged for how you look, how you think, and how you sound. Guys, I'm over my time. But I could do this once a week with you guys, but I'd like to have some interaction. So, if you're interested in your own voice acting or putting a group together, or if you want to come down and visit me in Hamilton, we can do that. But because of the technology and what I just showed you, you can do it from the comfort of your own house. And I want to show you how you can do that and have freedom. It's been a slice, guys. And I wish I was back home. I miss home. And you're in Sault Ste. Marie. And let me tell you, I've lived all over North America. And the reason, and I'm known for being a voice actor and an actor, but I tell everybody where that started, where that incubated, was in Sault Ste. Marie. Because we had to make up our own fun. We relied on our imaginations, and some of the most creative people that I know in the industry, even right now, are from the Sioux. So that's why I'd like to give back, because of what the Sioux gave me. And this was just a wet the whistle, a amuse-bouche, as they say. But I'm going to come up, and we're going to do it right. But if you guys want to get in touch with me, please do. Go to the website, theinfinityforge.com. Hit us up on Facebook. I'm not on social media, but somebody here is. And just say, hey, I'm from the Sioux. Automatically, you get a discount. You're in the inner circle if you're from the Sioux. Is Bon Sioux still a thing? Is that still happening? Is Bon Sioux still happening? Because I think I might come up if that's still happening. Yeah. I got in trouble one time. Mr. Bon Sioux came to Sault Ste. Marie. I've just been talking for an hour and 22 minutes. But he came to his sister Mary Claire, and my friend hit him on the back of the head. He turned around. He looked at me. A teacher grabbed me because, of course, I'm a kid with ADD, didn't know it. And I got in trouble for it. But I always hated you, Mr. Bon Sioux, for accusing me of doing something I never did. Guys, it's good to be home. And remember, it comes down to this. Who are you? Who are you talking to? And where are you? Rock the mic.
Thanks for listening. Follow us at Sioux Film Festival on the social medias.